Hi, BookTube. It's Gina. Happy Wednesday. I have been having quite a week this week, and so I thought I would just sit down and have a chat with you because whenever I'm having a moment, sitting down and just relaxing and gathering my thoughts and chatting with you about books always makes me so happy. I've had so many things I wanted to talk to you about recently, but the time just keeps getting away from me. I don't really like being busy. It's not the way that I operate. And I've been busy this week and I don't like it. So I'm taking a moment. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do the reading habits tag. Now, I've actually been thinking about doing a tag like this for quite a while because I did the book collecting tag that was created by Shelley Swearingen, and I did the book acquiring tag, which was created by Krista at Enter the Book. And so I wanted to do a tag about reading because I've talked about this before. I think that reading and book shopping and book collecting are all different hobbies, all equally valid hobbies, and all quite fun. So I talked about collecting, I talked about buying and shopping, and so I wanted to talk about reading as part of my three-pronged approach to my hobbies. Since I don't have any hobbies other than books, reading, collecting, and shopping, I got to make the most of it, and I love it. So this is the reading habits tag. I was actually tagged by Criminali, and I was so happy because Ollie and I have very, very different taste in books, but I love watching his channel. I think he likes watching my channel. And so it's so much fun for me because I have found that book people are the best, regardless of if we read the same kind of books. It's so much fun to hear what people are reading. And I have to admit, sometimes when he talks about horror, I skim through, I fast forward through some of those parts because I can't do horror. But I was very happy that he tagged me to do a reading habits tag because I've been wanting to do this anyway. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Question number 1 is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? And my favorite place to read is in bed. I love to read in bed at night. It's sort of my evening routine. We end our evening fairly early around here, and I like to go to bed by 9 and read for a few hours in bed. I find it so relaxing, and that is generally where I read my most sort of comforting book. Because of course I can't generally read anything too exciting right now. I will show you what I'm reading right now. I'm actually reading on my Oasis. I am reading Miss Mole by E.H. Young, and I love to read my Kindle in bed. This is my Oasis. Look at that. So I haven't gotten the ads removed yet because they always look like this. I've gotten a little used to them. But I'm reading Miss Mole. It's an enjoyable book. I don't love it, but I like it a lot. And I'm reading that on my Kindle with this beautiful green cover. These are great for reading in bed. Lightweight, easy to hold, backlit, just glorious. I'm getting a little bit more used to my Oasis than I was when I first got it. Prompt number 2 is bookmark or random piece of paper. And all right, I have to admit, I use pretty much anything. I'll use a bookmark, I'll use a random piece of paper. If it's one of these books, I will use a bookmark. If it's just a paperback that is not collectible and I'm just reading, I'll sometimes dog ear the corners. But the other book that I'm reading right now is this. It is Green Gates by R.C. Sheriff in this beautiful gray Persephone edition. And these come with bookmarks that match the end papers. So I do love to use a fancy bookmark sometimes, but I'm not wedded to the idea. I will use bookmarks, I will use paper. I try not to use pens or fat things because I really don't want to ruin the spine of a book, but I'm not wedded to any one particular mechanical device as a bookmark. Prompt number 3, can you just stop reading or do you have to stop after a chapter or a certain amount of pages? I could stop anywhere. I've stopped in the middle of a sentence. I'm reading in bed, I'm tired. I know I can go back and start the sentence over. So sometimes I will look and see if the chapter is going to be ending in a page. Maybe I will read to the end of the chapter. But once that tiredness hits me, you guys, I'm like, funk, I'm just out. So I'll put the book down and go right to sleep wherever I am. I know, it's a little crazy. Prompt number 4. Do you eat or drink while reading? And generally not. Sometimes I'll have a tea or something going, but I can't read and eat at the same time. For one thing, I don't want to ruin my beautiful books with any food. And if I'm reading my Kindle, I'm usually in bed. So I sometimes will have tea in bed with me, but yeah, not very often. Prompt number 5, multitasking, music or TV while reading. And no, I generally, if it's just me, I prefer quiet. However, I can read if there's noise. That's not a problem. I don't prefer it, but if we are out and about at a bar or at a coffee shop, I can read with noise and it does not bother me. Prompt number 6, one book at a time or several at once. So I always have at least 2 books going. I have a paper copy of something and I have a Kindle copy of something. A lot of times I'll also have something else going. So I'm reading some kids books, some picture books for the Picture This readathon. And so I'll flip through a picture book. So I usually have a few things going, but always I have 2 things, at least 2 things going. Prompt number 7, reading at home or everywhere. And I just said I like to read in coffee shops. I love to go out for happy hour and read and have a cocktail. And so that is one time when I do eat or drink, is if I'm doing happy hour and taking my Kindle and reading during happy hour. I love doing that. I love reading in coffee shops. Haven't really done that in a couple years for the obvious reasons, but I do really enjoy doing that and hope to be able to get back to it soon. I'm still not comfortable we have gone out to eat a couple times, but I don't feel comfortable just going out and sitting for periods of time. So I don't know. I'm in a weird place, as I'm sure many of us are. Prompt number 8, reading out loud or silently in your head. So I never read out loud unless I'm reading something to you. So I guess I read silently in my head, but I also don't actually read. I do read fairly quickly. I had a class in high school. It was a speed reading class, and I didn't learn how to speed read, but he gave us some really nice tips about speed reading, like don't focus on each word as you're going, and don't say it aloud in your head. You focus on chunks of words, three chunks of words, and that way you're not going like this too fast. You're chunking, and it helps you to read a lot faster and should not decrease your quality or your retention once you get used to it. So I generally read, I don't read silently in my head, but I chunk things into little sections so that I can read a little bit more quickly. Prompt number 9, do you read ahead or even skip pages? Goodness, no, I am not a monster. Prompt number 10, breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I hate to break the spine. I go in fits and spurts. For some books, if they're cheapy paperbacks or used paperbacks or things that are already not in great shape, I'm not precious about my things. However, for books like this that I want to collect and own, I do tend to read them carefully. And I have found, I actually saw a channel, I'll link it down below. his name is Brian Lee Durfee, and he doesn't read a lot of the same types of books that I like, because most people don't, but he reads a lot of fantasy, which is how I found his channel. He's got books from when he was like 10 years old that are in perfect condition. And I realized when I saw his video on that you don't have to crack your book open wide. You could just read it kind of like this. You don't have to break it open. It was a bit of a revelation for me, I have to say. So I do try to keep my books, my collectible books, the books that I love and plan to keep forever, in good shape because it makes me happy. But I'm also I am not a person that is very sad if things get wrecked. My philosophy in life is I don't want to own anything that I'm going to be devastated if it's broken or lost or ruined. So I love this book. If it got ruined, I could live without it. So I don't worry too much about that, but on the other hand, I do like to keep them nice if I can. That was a long answer. Prompt number 11, do you write in your books? And I've gone back and forth on this one. I don't use pencils very often, so I don't have pencils. So I did write in a couple books. My first few buddy reads that I did here on BookTube, I wrote in the book because I wanted to take notes and I wasn't sure how I was going to do it. And I'm kind of bummed I did now, because now I've got these pen notes in these books that they're just going to have to go in the garbage. Nobody's going to want them. So I may try to get myself a pencil, which should not be that difficult, but I just don't use pencils anymore, and take some light notes in pencil. For instance, on this book, I actually just kept a note. I'm keeping a notebook. I'm buddy reading this with my friend. I'm keeping a notebook by me and just jotting down page numbers of things that I want to remember for our discussion. But I do think it's nice to make a little pencil mark just so you can remember. So it would make a difference. I probably would not want to write in this because this is a beautiful Persephone. But if it's a mass market paperback, once again, I'm not as wedded to those. And so I'm willing to write in my books. Prompt number 12 is, who do you tag? Oh, this is the last one. So I am going to tag Catherine at Taking Tea with Catherine, because she just did the book acquiring tag. And I just think this one flows so nicely with that one. I'm also going to go ahead and tag Krista at Enter the Book, because she tagged me on her book acquiring tag. And I thought that was so much fun to do. So maybe we can get Krista to do this tag. I am going to tag Breezy Ann. Breezy, I think your channel is Breezy Ann Reads. But I love Breezy's channel. It is, she reads a lot of cozy books. She also likes a lot of fantasy books. So right up my alley. And then I'm going to tag Read by Fred, who is another really great channel who I really love watching. So that is it for me. I will possibly be back tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I have a whole list of things that I want to talk to you about. So maybe I'll be back tomorrow, but if not, I will see you soon. Bye.